really messing with my Zoom today, so just telling you. We are live. This is Sue Greenall with Awakened Stories, and I'm here today with the one, the only, dun, 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 John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing great. I was just thinking, Robin said last time, she said she loves you when you start the videos. Da, 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 da.
Well, yeah, and I can see my camera's messed up. Everything is messed up today. Like it sounds like it's like when I move, it's taking its time. And I've had trouble with Zoom and blah blah blah. So it is what it is, right?
We are the biggest story out there. That's why they're hindering us, because they don't want our story out. So, and I earlier this morning I was doing a live on Facebook, so I announced that we'd be doing a live. So of course the CIA probably got their fingers involved so they could hinder us a little bit more.
Yep. Yep.
But I hate to tell them they're on the wrong side.
Well, yeah, they do. That's why we stopped announcing it, because a couple years ago we were announcing, oh, we'll be back at 2 on Tuesday.
And then we wouldn't be able to get on at all.
Yeah, and they would really mess with our video and internet, and we had all sorts of trouble. So we're trying to do the stealth approach, and it's moderately successful. So yeah, so it looks like there's a little lag time with my camera, but there's nothing I can do about it now. So anyway, so our conversation is always, okay, let's go this way. We're based on stolen identity and quest for justice, books about John, as well as the historian's tale. So we're basically telling John's story, which is available in the books that are on his website. The website is therealjohnfkennedyjr.com. And if you don't know the story already, go to thequietjourney.tv. Okay. And that is a 1-hour documentary. It's fabulous and gives you the entire story in a nutshell right there. Thequietjourney.tv. You signing into Facebook?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. I just did it.
Awesome.
So now I can turn it off because I'm getting 2 echoes. It sounds like there's like a minute or so delay.
I need like an AV person to set me up, because man, like, oh, okay, so I moved my camera and that was like a big mistake.
Yeah. I'm here in Bullhead City. If there's any computer nerds or whatever you want to call them out there that can come by and help me. I don't know how, I would love to put little things up while I'm talking, or, be able to put my Cashapp sign up in the screen or something. And I don't know how to.
Yeah. Okay. I can do it through Zoom, and I can do it when I edit. So we will maybe do that next time. If Sue has
I myself, when I go live on Facebook, I can't do anything except this here.
Yeah.
It's, I'm an old school guy, and, when my son was alive, he could help me do all that stuff. He was a whiz at computer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, when you think of it though, and when we grew up, we didn't have computers, obviously, or technology. In fact, when I grew up, the horror, we had to get out of our chair to turn the TV channel. We did. We had 3 channels, but we had to walk across the room and manually turn the knob. And so I think we're pretty good for doing what we're doing, right?
Oh, I was styling when I got a beeper.
Yeah.
Everybody thought when beepers first came out, everybody thought I was some drug dealer. And I was like, no, they just like keeping an eye on me real close, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the old rotary phone, and then when they got the push button phone, that was a big deal.
Yep.
But yeah, and it took more to learn. I was taught by Vietnam guys how to tune a car, how to adjust a carburetor, how to adjust points and the spark and all that. I was taught personally, but now you just Google it.
Yeah. And I'm actually kind of grateful for it. Like I've had some weird things I've had to fix myself, and I've gone onto YouTube or I'll Google like how do I blah blah blah, and then there's several videos on something totally obscure, but it's actually pretty awesome because you can fix things yourself. For those that like I don't personally want to fix anything ever, but sometimes you have to, right?
It
Yeah.
was kind of cool back then because learning from somebody that was willing to teach you, and while I was saying that, all the way from the Hell's Angels having me sit on a box of explosives to roll out and blow Mick Jagger up. Lots of cool stories like that.
When you think of it, that is an incredible story, right? Incredible story.
Yeah.
So,
It's all in fun,
anyway,
all in fun.
I know that we've pounded our fists multiple times and said this is your year. And this time I really, really mean it. 2026, the year of justice for John, right? That his story gets out to the mainstream, that people start giving him the attention that he deserves, that people believe his story and he's able to tell it to other people that, we'll say have influence and can help in some way. It's a big deal.
There's so many people out there that think, this 65-year-old man's here just to con people with a made up make believe story. I've never been in trouble with the law, and I got a lot better things to do than try to bullshit somebody to sell a book that I could have never wrote, unless it was true in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, I know it's shocking, but you don't make a lot of money from books, right? Like, there's not, I mean, like, okay, so we sell this book for $30. Then we have actually the cost of the book itself. Okay. And then we have postage and all the other supplies like envelopes and things. But there's a lot of that goes into it. And you're not making a lot of profit. But in the case of this book, Quest for Justice, the proceeds do go to John, right? Some of the proceeds do go to me a little bit, but they go to John so that he
you're
can
the one
live.
that's done all the work.
Yeah. Yeah. All it is a compilation of all the stories he's told us through the years. All right. And what I was saying before we started is that his memories will be coming back and he's going to have more and more and more and more stories, names, dates, things that they don't want out there. Right. Why else would they have banned this? Why else would they have banned this from Amazon?
Well, we're
Right.
going up against the
Yeah.
biggest crime ring in history, not just the mafia. We're talking the mafia took over the United States government. It is the biggest crime ring. They
Yeah.
don't want you to know our story, what we're sharing, um, all the money that was stolen, the people they had unalived. It's really
Yeah.
huge. It's
Yeah.
bigger than the Epstein files, and everybody can see how they don't want the Epstein files released.
Right.
And when I say it's bigger, it's more grassroots than the Epstein files. The Epstein files is them just, talking about molesting these children, which is huge, trafficking these children. But people, my story, it goes to the bottom, the big picture of it all, why they do that to the children, what they did to me, how they unalive people to control people,
Right.
to build them up. It's the same way as oh, many people in cults do, you know. But that's the big picture is who was taking the pictures. Why was the
Yeah.
blackmail up there to put on the presidents of the United States, and they're
Right.
they're all in on it, every single one.
Yeah.
That's why I was kidnapped and replaced. That's why I was kidnapped many times for extortion money from these organized crime members. It's really hard to make somebody in the entertainment industry pay up unless you take their children away from them and say now you're going to pay up or
Right.
commit, unalive them and say, and when people go to the FBI and say, hey, my children were kidnapped, they're like, we can't help you, go away. Go check into the mental hospital. It's
Yeah.
just like they did when my child was kidnapped, and I showed him a picture of my child sitting on somebody's lap with a knife up to his throat. It's crazy. People don't get it. They need to understand it's bigger than they can even imagine. The United States government is run by criminals. Hello. And people say, you're just a Democrat. You don't like Trump. No, I don't like Biden either. I don't like Obama. I don't like the Clintons. I don't like the Bushes. I met them all. I was on detail with the Secret Service to protect them all.
Well, and again,
people don't understand it. They don't.
They're assuming that this is a political issue, and it's bigger than that. Like, you know, the forces that divide us want us to fight among ourselves, like Republican versus Democrat, right? Or man versus woman, black versus white, whatever it might be. But here's the deal. It's not political whatsoever. This is about good versus evil, right? Right.
It's about good versus evil. It's about the rich and the poor. Yeah. It's about the evil wanting to be rich, wanting to do anything for money, even unaliving children. Yeah. My sister is a great example of that. The cover-up of my sister's murder is a great example of how they can do it. The Martha Moxley, Caroline Kennedy murder switch, and Secret Service did that. It's crazy the power they have, but they police themselves. You know, they really do. You had victims of the Epstein files going and talking to the FBI. That's where these millions and millions of pages came from. They didn't do anything. They were just taking the intel and not doing their job. That's why there's millions and millions of files, because they didn't do their job, people. They were covering up what they should have been doing by doing nothing. And I think that pretty much said it all. That came out of my mouth for me not being there.
Well, listen, like we're seeing it in real time right now, okay? The Attorney General reluctantly, after a year, and then after claiming there's no files, they reluctantly release some, and then they're trying to quietly take them back. But we're seeing what's in these files. There's not been a single arrest here in the U.S. Not a single arrest. The outrage is starting to fall away. And again, part of that could be due to the war with Israel and Iran, you know. But the distraction is a real ploy. You get a person that's got so many things to look at, and also they don't know what they can do. They don't know how they can help or change it, right? So they don't know what to do or what to think. Well, I'll tell you what to think. It's wrong. It's egregious. It's evil. It's dark. It's satanic. And it needs to be prevented for the future and punished. Those that are perpetrators need to be rounded up and punished.
They're the best at what they do with mind control and torture and drugs.
Yep.
You know, even when I was young, it's like they get you poor because they control you. They control all the people around you because it's a small world. They place the people around you. So they get you poor. And then they bring you $1,000 worth of dope, you know, when you're young, $1,000. And they're like, you sell that $1,000 worth of stuff and you can make 2,000. And you're sitting here starving to death and you're going, I could do that. And then the next thing you know, they're putting the law on you just to make things worse for you. Right. And, you know, it's a crazy cycle. It's a crazy system, but they know what they're doing. You know, our CIA would rather have two countries fight between themselves than to fight with us. So that's what they do. They, you know, start wars. It's huge. Well, they're dealing with the biggest crime ring in the world. So, and they're evil.
They have no qualms about killing. Like, okay, so look we killed our own people during 9/11. Okay, and we're told that maybe 3,000 or so had died in the towers. That's not true. It's more like 30 to 50,000 people. We killed our own people. Okay, and they also allowed them to take control over us. So now we willingly give them all our information. Where are you going? What's the purpose? Why are you getting on this plane? Why have you got a chapstick or something that's bigger than 4 ounces of liquid? You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and
it
how come there's no plane debris in that field?
yeah,
And how come the Pentagon got bombed that day? I mean, there's so many.
yeah,
It was rigged. It was fixed. Um, it was a demolition. They wanted to take down the towers one way or another. They figured they'd start a war and do it. That's what they're good
yep,
at,
yep.
and that's what it
And
boils down to.
yep. And then they wanted to frame the Middle East so we could go over and mess around over there,
I
take
mean,
their resources, right?
Osama bin Laden worked for the CIA people. When there was the first attack on the World Trade Centers, they had to come down.
Yeah,
So from the time the inspectors got there and said, "Look, this pylon is twisted. It has to. This is the base.
yeah,
In the basement. It blew all the concrete off. It's not going to ever be fixed." So they said, "Oh, they got to come down." And I was a witness to that. I really
yeah,
was.
yeah.
So now the buildings have to come down. What's our CIA do? Let's start a war. They got to come down. Let's get the government to pay for our buildings that have to come down. Let's kill a bunch of people that we don't even like anyway. And let's start a war. Let's go get some oil. Let's have George Bush stand on a pile of rubber and say, "We're going to get even, motherfuckers. Rally up, America." When it was them in the first place. And
Right.
it's been going on. They've been lying to you so much. And we're supposed to respect our government for all this nonsense.
Yeah, yeah. And some people say something like anything can be photoshopped or anything can be this or that. Yeah, but look at, we know that the Epstein files are bad. Okay, like if you've even seen a couple of those videos or photos, all right, just a couple, we're not even talking all of them, they're going to rip your heart out. Okay, in what society is that acceptable? Right? So if they're hiding that, if they're hiding the story of why your dad was murdered, if they're hiding the 9/11, if they're hiding this and that, what else are they hiding that they haven't been caught at yet?
Well, they are amazing at what they do. Like, I've been sharing my story for years. Me and you've been sharing it for a few years now. And they don't want the truth out. So they're flooding my Facebook with fake accounts. John, George Onassis. But anyway, with Kennedy assassination stuff, with him and his wife, they had a movie of Aristotle, my stepfather. They had a movie come out of the fake George, George Onassis, but they keep flooding the intelligence or however you want to say it, with fake bullshit that we're saying, hey, it's all fake. So they're
Yeah,
acting like it's all real, but they're
yeah,
flooding it. They're spending so much money putting all this, here we are sharing the truth saying, yeah, George Onassis was a John Kennedy. The whole world knew he was just organized crime placement. The Caroline Kennedy that's out there is a fake, is a fraud. She has no Kennedy blood. So they're putting her son out there. And, I think Caroline and, the fake John were tapping on each other because he looks just like George Onassis. He really does. But they're Greek. They're not, it's the Greek.
I'm sorry, that was funny. But yeah, so we got kind of off on a tangent, but what I guess the point is, all of this is real. It's all happened. It's being covered up. People know about it. They don't really know what to do, but they know about it. So the ones that are usually watching these videos, they're aware of the deception. So what is it we can do? We can share the truth, right? We can keep talking about the truth. We can keep talking about all the injustices and getting it out there. Because if we stop talking about it, the stories will die and no one will ever know. All right. Your story is crucial. Like
Well,
they don't want this story out there. We have to get it out there.
well, when I was young, I was 15 years old. I just watched my family members being murdered. I watched them being replaced. And people within our own government said, you can't ever share your story, you'll be killed. But they also said, if you share your story with others, they will be killed. And as time went on, I was like, they have to know, the world has to know. And I really forgot where I was going with this. I was, it was like
justice for John. That's where it is. We got to get the story out there.
Organized crime. The one way to expose them is to expose them. I mean, one way to hurt them is to expose them. You know, even in the syndicate, if people find out they belong to the syndicate, sometimes they're unalived just for being exposed. So that's one way we can hurt them, is by hitting that share button, sharing to the world. Donald Trump's part of that. So is Biden. So is Clinton and Obama and all of them. After my father was assassinated by this cult, this satanic cult, they started putting their own members in. Now our whole government, not the whole government, but probably 98% of the Senate and the Congress and our government is this cult. They do what they want. They try. You can see by the Epstein files. Even if there was a slightest chance in one of those millions and millions of documents that they hurt a child, it should have been done. Right. No matter if they had to get rope out. And, you know, how many people have been tried for such crimes? You know, it's a death penalty in these other countries to hurt children. But yet our government and all these millions and millions of files, you know, suggest and point the finger to these people are part of this. And I know they are, because I lived it. You know, there's a lot that was done to me that I would love to put rope around somebody's neck for it. I really would. And unaliving my family and keeping it silent to this very day is one of those things, you know.
Yeah. And you know, one of the reasons they killed your father publicly, right? They could have done it in a sneakier fashion. But one of the reasons they did it publicly was so they couldn't put another double in there and continue what he was doing.
That's why they did it in broad daylight. And they're still trying to say, oh, he lived to be 104 and this and that. Well, that means his murder wouldn't be murdered. But they could have replaced him with a clone. You know, they executed him in broad daylight. They had cameras there. They took pictures of it. You know, they had it all worked out and sorted for the vice president to become president within an hour or whatever it was of his execution. But they wanted it that way because the way it works with the kidnapping and the identity theft, I would have had a new father. I would, you know, if he would have died in his bed in secret, I would have had a new father, because they love the power of it all. But they needed to end that power of JFK when they assassinated him in broad daylight. He was done. No more bringing him back. No more. You know, even though people try, like, oh yeah, his name's Russell Pickett. You know, no, that's all bullshit. My father, and you know, they even show my father with a body double. Well, you know, I got a picture today or last evening of my fake mother. My fake mother with Christina Onassis. I believe that's Elton John in the front seat. I knew Elton John. But if I would have known, well, I was still so young to realize they put body doubles in place because they plan on stealing everything from the person, the original person that worked so hard and came up in the world, like my father. They did that because they were going to steal everything the Kennedy family had. And they did it. And they did it.
Yep. So,
and it's right here. Me and Shannon were talking about this earlier. I did a video about this. Sotheby's auction. Sotheby's auction, with the help of Donald Trump, stole millions and millions of my murdered loved ones' possessions. Sold with the help of Donald Trump. People say, "What? Donald Trump wasn't around when your family was around." Yeah, but he's part of the same crime ring that unalived my family members, so he could make millions of dollars stealing their possessions. And they made a catalog of it, people. That's how organized war crime works. They put it right in front of your face. Look what we stole by murdering people.
So not only is it the monetary value of the possession, it's the collector's item value. Like that.
Oh
This
yeah,
was.
and I can guarantee you,
Yeah.
some of the same crime family members had to have that memento. It's like a trophy.
Yeah.
Oh well, our crime family, our secret crime family, unalive the whole Kennedy family. We put people in place. I want one of those trinkets for a possession, for a trophy to put in my house, to put the picture on my wall, or put the little knickknack on my mantle. So when I walk by, I can say, "You see what Art Corrupted did? We actually unalived the Kennedy family, and this is what we got out of it."
Yep.
It's really sad, but that's organized crime. That's satanic
Yeah.
right there. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Horrible. So we need to get the story out. So whether that's by buying a book, writing a comment on the book, sharing the book with another person, buying a book for the library or somebody that would read it, sharing the videos, creating little flyers and putting around. Whatever you can do to share the story is welcome.
And
And
these
that's,
pendants really, really help the cause. They
yep.
really, really do. These were donated to me by King Smarty. It's going to be history. And I've
Yep.
been sitting around, I'm serious, I've been sitting around the house all week wondering, I wish I could just get out and go do something. And I'm sitting on my hands because the funds aren't there. I'm
Yeah.
hoping somebody shows up at my house and says, "Hey, I got a little money in the bank. Let's start up a church. Let's start up a healing center. Anything will help to get the story out. Let's rent an office." My salary that I make doesn't qualify to rent an office at this time. It would be great to have a home based office.
Yeah.
They have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and Satan controls them both. How about we make a party for we the people and just have an office to hand out information, to share information, to get the story out to the Senate and the Congress and all the media. The media is so controlled, they don't want the story out. But what can we do to help get the truth out of, hey, if they can do this to little John Kennedy and his whole family, you know, whose father was the president of the United States, that they murdered our first lady and are still covering it up to this day. I mean, come on. This is huge news. And
Yeah.
there's people out there that have stolen billions of dollars and are still getting away with it to this very day because there's
Yeah.
people like Donald Trump that can police themselves and cover it up.
It should be like shouted from the rooftops what's happened. I mean, again, people have a short attention span, right? There's so much drama in all that going on out there in the world. They're seeing the wars, the crazy stuff that's happening in society, and people are heavily distracted. But this should be a staple story, getting the truth out there. And of course, they don't want the truth out there.
And
Or
it's really strange because I was just thinking when you said the wars and the nonsense of it all. But and who really knows? But my DNA, like I stated earlier, I'm 100% European. 100%. There's no dots in America. Nothing in my DNA that says I'm an American, that I lived in Texas or New York or nothing. But I'm 100% European. And then in my relatives, it says Netanyahu was a relative to my father because I'm JFK's son. So it's saying Netanyahu is my relative from my father's side of the family. I do believe Netanyahu was murdered and replaced in the takeover in the 70s also, but it's just crazy all the connections. Um, actually, I felt bad when I heard that Netanyahu was killed, but it was like it didn't bother me because he's on the wrong side. He really is.
yeah, he
It's
definitely was
just
on the
it's
wrong.
just a it's just a point that if he really is my blood relative, that my DNA shows, that was blood family. But when you're on the bad side, the wrong side of the world, and you're killing children, just like that missile strike that they did on all those Iranian schoolgirls, there's no call for that. We have precision munitions. They can punch a button. They have bunker busting bombs that will go through 8 feet of concrete, no problem, and then get everything on the inside. Then you get the Epstein files about these children, and then you get the war where all these other children. This is a satanic, mind-boggling crime ring that there's no call for it, none whatsoever, none. Anyway, this government has to go. This government, one way, has to go.
And those people need to be punished. The ones that were perpetrators, they can't get away with it. And in fact, I think most of them have been punished already. The problem is the media is not reporting it properly, so we don't see it. We're not being told. So those that don't follow along, they're the sheeple. They don't know.
Well, if you look on the internet, it's all over the Epstein files and what Trump did and what Epstein did and how they're friends. But then if you go to Fox, I don't watch Fox News, but I can guarantee you Fox News is not saying Donald Trump's a fucking pedophile.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah. It's not fair and balanced like they say it is. Oh, we're fair and balanced news. By the way, Donald Trump is the best president in the whole wide world.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I wanted to show the pendant again. Okay, so this is a picture. This is the rainbow color. It's got pinks, blues, greens, and yellows. It's beautiful. And on one side, it has John's face, the cover of his stolen identity book. On the other, it's got a logo and, the name of his book there, right?
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. But more important than the collector's item feature of these pendants is the healing and protective frequencies. Okay, so King Smarty infuses healing and protective frequencies in every pendant. So if you wear them or have them in your proximity, you're going to notice you feel better, 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 better as time goes on. When you feel better, you look better. Okay, you look younger, you look more relaxed. And we've been watching that with John through the years. When we first started talking with John, he had a lot of PTSD. John thought he was going to die, which is part of the reason he really was pushing to get this story out there. And King Smarty sent him a pendant, and he wore it, and we can see the difference. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
And with that said, King Smarty donated these to me.
Yes.
So it would help better my life.
Yeah.
And it's King Smarty's birthday today. So I hope you go bug King Smarty and tell him he's an old fart. And happy birthday, King. And
Yeah. So yes, he's infused them with healing and protective frequencies. But the good news is that they go to support John, his living expenses. And, I know we think it's free, but it does cost money to create these videos, right? To have all the subscriptions and services and blah, 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 plus the time. So that goes to help John with his living expenses. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been cutting back on my expenses. Even my YouTube channel, I was paying for premium. It was like $16 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I throwing my $16 away when they're not helping me? They're hindering me from sharing my videos when they should be getting millions of views and they're getting a couple views. So I said, forget it. I'm not paying them their $16.
Right. Yeah, and of course we know that we're being suppressed. Like we have trouble. Look today I couldn't even log into Zoom. I set up the meeting and then it wouldn't let me get in to click on the meeting. So that was like a 20-minute process. I pay them for their service, by the way. Okay. So they're doing anything they can to hinder what we're trying to do.
I know this is kind of off subject, but last night I got an email for my motorcycle insurance. Last year it was $107 for 1 year's motorcycle insurance, and that's not full coverage or anything. If I crack it up, that's on me. So I'm, try to be careful where I don't crack it up, so I save $1.
Yeah.
I got an email from my insurance company last night that said now my insurance was $350. That's 250% higher. I mean, from $107 to $350 a year later. I'm not as smart as Donald Trump is with his math, but I think that's 250% more.
It's still ugly.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but yeah, I was like, okay, now I have to I had Geico before, and Geico did the same thing to me like 2 years ago. I think and they're making so much money off of insurances.
Yeah.
But it was like I was paying $100 for my old pickup truck, and then Geico sends me a bill that says now it's $650.
Yeah.
So I had to cancel it altogether. I couldn't afford that for insurance. But just from $107 to $350, right away I started looking for another cheaper insurance, and I found one that was $97 instead of $350.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're going to get screwed on your insurance, you better look around because it's a scam.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah. Everything is designed against the people, and
we have no choice. We have no choice.
Yeah.
I got pulled over. Me and my son got pulled over. I had to let my insurance expire. I think it was like 2 weeks gone or something. But me and my son went to go get pizza, and we got pulled over. They targeted me. I know it was on purpose.
Yeah.
The DMV charged me $250. I had to get whole new plates and everything. And then I went to court, and the court charged me, I believe it was $500 for driving without insurance. So the whole thing came to like $750 for driving without insurance. So I could go get me and my son a pizza. And I think the insurance was $100 that I didn't pay but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. So we really want to get this story out is really the bottom line. The story has got to come out. John has not given up. So you have done at least one video a day, maybe more since I've known you. Okay. So sometimes he's on 2 or 3 times a day. Then we have a video or whatever. That's a lot of talking, a lot of videos, a lot of communicating.
I've done thousands and thousands of videos trying to get my story out. Some are pretty stupid. Some I tried to do just to get people's attention. But the basically is trying to get my story out to the world. I'm not going to stop, give up. Sometimes I did videos just to mess with our Secret Service and see if they'll show up here. I was talking to Mojo, and she said, threaten the president of the United States?
Oh, no, don't do that, please.
No, I did. I actually did. This was I think 3 or 4 years ago. I actually held up a hand grenade. And I said, let's see if the Secret Service will come over here. And they never did.
Yeah.
They don't want my story out. So I can get away with little things like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we want to get this out. So that's the bottom line. The story is a real story. So for those that don't know it, okay, those that might be new that are tuning in, John's father was murdered when he was age 3, when John was age 3. And John, kind of traveled around with your mom for a couple of years, and then it really went downhill fast.
3 days before my birthday. You think that was planned? It was all planned. The whole thing was planned. It was written out script by script like a Hollywood movie. We're gonna unalive JFK, and then we're gonna unalive Jackie, and then we're gonna unalive Carolyn. But first, we're gonna have Jackie marry a billionaire so we can steal the billionaire's money.
Yep.
Then we can have the Kennedy fortunes, and we can have the Onassis fortunes. We have one greedy freaking organized crime ring running this country to this day.
Yep.
They pre-plan it, they act it out, and they do it.
Yep. So basically, it's all about money, power, and control. All right. So they go in, they figure out a plan to drain the estate of all the assets, whether it's cash, whether it's a business, it could be power and influence of the person. It doesn't matter. They'll put someone in there that looks like a double. It could be a clone. It could be someone in a mask, and they play the part, just like the fake Caroline Kennedy is, or Carolyn.
Yeah, and everybody's involved.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen on the internet Jim Carrey
Yeah.
and what they did with his double last week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They do that all the time. There's people that
Yeah.
don't even look like the originals anymore.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
I saw something this morning about Jim Carrey. It was just a little blurb about some obscure point of his life. They were pushing that new guy so hard in this video over and over and over. And I'm like, wow, they really want us to acclimate to his new look, right? Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on that we don't really know. Yeah. And you're not going to find it on Google, people.
Yep. Okay. Well, so what have you been up to lately? I think we should wrap up in a little bit.
I've been sore and down and out and kind of miserable, but it's all good. I just got big hopes and big dreams, and they're not going as fast as they want. It's on Daddy's time. Yeah. So Daddy's in control. So I got to pull myself out of this miserable state. But the Harley's back on the road. I had a blowout a couple weeks ago on the Harley. I got new tires for it. I fell over in the driveway. I hurt my ankles. But it's all good. It's just every day. I got a haircut. I got my buzz cut. I'm liking it. It's comfortable. But my hair was down to my, shoulders when I started this whole thing. So, but it's been 100 degrees here in Bullhead for, I don't know now, going on 2 weeks now or something. So it was due. I'm a lot cooler.
Awesome.
But I'm just hoping Daddy and others will help get this story out. We can start marching forward, do what we got to do. And if you can't, hit that share button. That's a huge achievement right there. These books are a huge achievement. When you have the government saying, hey, if you ever share your story with the world, you're going to die. And look at us now. 85,000 people. These videos that we're doing are getting millions of views. They don't have the power. They can't stop us now.
And we've got the haters and the naysayers out there that are like, they don't know or believe that you are who you say you are or whatever. They don't know the story, and they just go, basically they just insult you or whatever. They want the knee-jerk reaction. But it's going to be fun when they actually find out the story is real.
Either that or they do know the story and they're scared to death and they're shitting in their pants because we are getting the story out. We plan on coming out, kicking ass, taking names. I have a heart of gold, but I love getting even too. So I feel sorry for them when they come on and call me an asshole or send me a death threat or the crazy shit they do. Say, oh, I'm on drugs or I'm on crack or whatever they try to do. Then I'm not so nice. I can put a smile on my face when I'm hitting them in the head with a baseball bat, though.
Well, usually the average person, if they start to watch a video and they think the person is full of it or they don't agree, the average person just goes along. There's too much stuff out there. There's so much opportunity to learn new things. Why would you waste time on something that's not real? Right.
There's a lot of bad guys out there. A lot of people have done bad things to others. I want justice, and they're making so much money to this very day off of Kennedy memorabilia, Kennedy this, Kennedy property. There's people alive that have stole billions of dollars from the Kennedy family. So of course we're going to have be people that don't want this story out. And I hope they are sitting there watching this with their butt puckered, knowing that I'm not the nicest guy in the world, and they really do have something to worry about. Because when they have something to worry about, they usually blow it. That's one thing I learned when I was very young. in a fight. Don't ever lose your temper. Don't ever get mad, because that's how you'll lose. If you keep your insanity, your insanity.
Yeah.
But if you keep your sanity, and you're probably going to win the battle, win the fight.
Yeah. Even-headedness. So basically, the bottom line, though, that I guess I wanted to make with this whole video, John isn't stopping. The story is getting out there. We're going to persist until the story is out there in a satisfactory, you know,
Oh, we're still
way.
going.
We're going.
I think it's actually been 5 years now since I was on the operating table, and the surgeons were there telling me you're probably not going to live through it. And I was there, and I was like, I'm John fucking Kennedy Jr. on my deathbed. So I'm not giving up. I'm never going to give up. Not even
That's
on
right.
my deathbed. I'm going to keep going
Yeah.
and going. The
So
world needs to know.
for those that need the story, the Quiet Journey.tv. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the camera. So the Quiet Journey.tv is a great documentary. And there's 4 books on John's website. One is The Quest for Justice that I compiled. We've got Stolen Identity, which is a fabulous, groundbreaking book about the story of what happened to John. The Historian's Tale, and I just blanked on the last one because I did, sorry. But they're all on John's website, therealjohnfkennedy.jr.com. Thank you.
Quest for Justice with the beautiful John and Robin.
Yeah. Legacy of Truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So if you can support John in any way, that's greatly appreciated. And John, you've got to keep persisting. We've got to crawl up that mountain. Like you're the one leading the pack. You're crawling up there and we're pushing you up. We're supporting you. We're right behind you.
I couldn't have come this far without you guys. I really couldn't have.
Yeah.
I know that.
You're not giving up.
Yeah, I even thank you guys for helping me keep going.
Yeah.
When I think of the Lions and their children and their family members that support me, it's all about them. It is. And the future. When we have this evil government, the satanic government, and what they do for their families, but not for our families,
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking. I can't give up. I can't, because each and every day for the rest of my life, I'm going to want a better America, a better world for everybody's children.
Awesome. Awesome. Feels like a good time to sign off for today. So thank you all for watching the video. Thank you for sharing and whatever help and support you can give John. And if you have any questions that we should ask or talk about or any topics, please let me know.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, guys. Hit that share button. You know, each and every day we're here sharing the story. Help us out. Let's get the truth out.
Awesome.
You won't be disappointed. You're not going to be, I don't know how to say it. We're not lying to you.
Well, we're not going to quit either. So we're going to persist no matter what it takes. All right. Thank you so much, John. Really glad that you got the courage and persistence and that, you know, that we found you so that we